This is Microsoft Virtual Academy, and we are getting started with Template 10. We're talking about controls, and now we're going to talk about the custom title bar control. This is a control that doesn't have a visual. It's really meant to enable a capability. So picture an application, and you have all of your UI and everything else, but right along the top, starting with Windows 10, you now have a title bar. And inside that title bar, you have its title. You also have an optional shell-drawn back button, and you also have a minimize, restore, and close button, right? So it's the title bar. That title bar can be completely customized inside Windows 10 so that you can do cool things like change its color.
And change its color.
And change its color. Yes, wouldn't it be nice if you could make those changes inside your XAML style and not have to call an API? Well, right now you have to call an API, except for with Windows 10 or Template 10. We now enable it so you can do it inside the style. That's
they're interchangeable. Windows 10, Template 10.
That's right.
Where the lines meet.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
We don't have as many developers. But maybe as many lines of code.
That is not true.
No, it is not. The title bar control is completely invisible to you, but it does allow you to style it inside your custom XAML. And you can do one extra thing, not just change the color and the background and the foreground and change the color of the buttons. Those are the coloring.
But are you sure you want to?
Are you sure you want to? Well, hang on. But the other feature is you can also take the top of your content and move it into the title bar as well. So if you do that, there's a couple other things you need to consider, such as if it's a good idea.
Exactly. Because you've got to take over drawing a whole bunch of stuff.
A whole bunch, as well as identify what's going to be the grabbing part of the title. You still need to provide that. Great. You know what? I think let's see how it's done. This is a simple enough control. I think we can see the syntax and kind of grok it from there.
Yep, sounds good. So, inside Visual Studio, here I am. I've got my app.xaml open, and I have a style specified in my resource dictionary.
Wait. App.xaml turns out to be very important here.
It does. It seems to be the only place where we can set this at this moment in time. It could be a timing issue in terms of how we're reading the resources or whatever, but for the time being, you need to specify these styles in your app.xaml.
Right. You wouldn't think so because you're merging it right there, but
yes,
it seems like you do. There's something we're not getting.
There's something we're not getting. Basically, the bootstrapper is searching for the existence of a style that targets this custom type during its startup cycle. And at the time when it's reading it in the startup cycle, it doesn't appear to have completed the merge operations with the other dictionaries, which means it's only able to find it at this point. So for the time being, this is where it's located. It's useful enough.
That's right.
So we've got our target type of custom title bar, and here are all our diverse properties that we can set. We have background color, so that's obviously the primary background color. That's paired with a foreground color. So this is the background color of your title bar would be orange-red, the foreground color would be white. Then we have various modes for the buttons.
Right.
One of the challenges with the styling, if you're working with a designer that wants to call out a difference between your app back button and the minimize, restore, and close buttons, is that these are wholesale. These apply to all buttons in there. You can't target just the back button or the minimize button or whatever. These apply across the board.
Now, can you hide the minimize button?
You can't.
No.
You can't do any customization with those buttons. They are part of the shell. They are drawn by the system for you.
Right.
So these are our regular button background, button foreground colors. And then we have a hover state. So when our mouse is over this, which obviously you don't have a hover in a touch system, but when our mouse is over this, it'll change those colors. Then we have an inactive foreground and background color for our buttons, as well as an inactive foreground and background colors for our title bar. Now, this is when our app is on screen, but is not focused.
Some other app has the foreground focus.
Absolutely.
I see.
Then we have button pressed. So if we click our button and hold it, we'll actually see this state. You'll see it transition through it if we click on it. And as Jerry mentioned, here's our extended property, which we set to false. If I bring up this news application, what we can see here is the news application. We can see we've customized it. We've made it the orange color, and we have our foreground color is white. But
sort of nice. It kind of makes it look like it is all one big bar.
Absolutely. If I move my mouse over, now we've got custom colors coming into our mouse. You'll notice we can't change the background color of the close button. Its system is red. So if I navigate in, we can see that we get our back button comes in and it picks up
the same hover color.
Yep. Now, if I bring up another application, you can see that the color of our bar has changed because it's now inactive.
Yeah.
If I bring it back to the foreground, changes back. We still have mouse over states on these buttons, even though they're inactive.
That's interesting looking, yeah.
So it's interesting to see. So you can really call that out. So it helps your users understand which application is being focused. You'll notice if we look on this one, it's much subtler on the out-of-the-box styling, whereas if we click on it, we just gray out the foreground colors.
Yeah.
Whereas ours, you can really see the difference between it. Now, I wouldn't say that this is a wonderful set of colors and so on, but it really does demonstrate the power of that customization.
Can you set extended to true and show us what that looks like?
We can.
So there's a lot of things that happen here. When you do set it to true, the actual grabbing part of the bar goes away. It assumes that it's the first control, and so it tries to do it for you, but then you have other... there's a lot of work here.
There's a lot of work.
You're going to need to go into MSDN if you're going to go to true for this, but this is how you do it. This is how you do it, so take a look. Like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Looks like something we should talk about. And here we go. So we can see now our title bar is sitting right up against the top of the application. Here's our hamburger. So we still have our system-drawn shell operation.
Yeah.
Which sit
for the main page, this looks nice.
Looks awesome. But then we go into here. But we're genius. Because we're using our page header and because our application shell button isn't being drawn, now we get our inline button that gives us back support.
Very nice. Boy, that logic is smart.
That logic is smart.
Now, it's worth pointing out that the button in the command bar is actually hidden now by the button box over on the right. So there is a favorites button on the right-hand side that you can no longer see. So if you're going to do this, you're going to need to change where your commands end up going. And you're also going to make it more narrow, and you'll see that the text of the title starts to do the same thing. So you're going to start having to handle this as well. Doesn't mean it can't be done. Yeah.
The other challenge is because this application was designed using the shell back buttons, this back button doesn't know about the frame.
Right.
So we can't actually navigate back.
Right, right.
But we could with the control presses.
Yeah, you can. That's right.
Yeah, with key presses and so
Anyway, so that's what it looks like. Just know that this is a can of worms, but you can still do it.
Yeah. With great power comes great responsibility.
The custom title bar control, why is it there? So you can style your title bar from inside your XAML. It's a beautiful thing. You can use things like static resources that you wouldn't, and theme resources that would have been quite a trick to do otherwise inside C#. Still possible, just easier with Template 10. Good luck.